Welcome to the place where excuses die and your greatness begins. If you've been stuck in the same cycle, telling yourself, I'm waiting for the right time, I'm grinding but nothing's changing, or maybe I'm just not ready yet, this one's for you. Today, we're cutting through the noise and exposing 6 silent habits that are secretly destroying your success. Not the obvious stuff, the real killers, fear in disguise, comfort sold as love, and hustle that leads nowhere. This isn't about motivation that fades in an hour. This is about truth, raw, unfiltered truth, the kind that makes you look in the mirror and move. So if you're ready to stop talking and start becoming, stay locked in, because what comes next might just shift your entire mindset. Let's get into it. You keep waiting for the right time. Like somehow, someday, all the lights will turn green, the skies will clear, and the world will send you a personal invitation saying, now is your moment. Let me tell you something, that moment, it's not coming, not like that. See, life doesn't pause for your fear. Time doesn't slow down because you're unsure. While you're sitting there overthinking, waiting for the perfect setup, someone else with half your talent and none of your hesitation is already running toward what you were meant to chase. You think you're being careful. You're not, you're stalling, you're convincing yourself that preparation is wisdom, and sure, preparation matters. But when preparation turns into procrastination, when readiness becomes your excuse, that's when it turns deadly. That's when your dream starts dying in the name of someday. You know what separates the people who make it from the ones who just talk about it. It's not luck. It's not who they know. It's not even talent. It's the decision to move, even when they don't feel ready, even when the fear's still loud in their chest. They move, they act, because they understand something most people don't. Waiting is comfortable. Action is risky, but comfort never built anything worth keeping. Think about how many times you've told yourself, I'll start when I have more money, I'll speak up when I feel more confident, I'll try when the timing feels right. You keep saying when, like life owes you some kind of signal. It doesn't. The only signal you're ever gonna get is the one you send yourself. The moment you decide, not hope, not wish, decide to take the step. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Courage to begin, not with the whole map, but with the first step. Courage to look foolish for a moment so you don't feel regret for a lifetime. People out here trying to figure it all out before they even start. That's not life, that's fantasy. Real life is messy. Real life means stumbling while you walk, tripping while you talk, failing publicly and still showing back up the next day like none of it broke you. That's real, that's progress, that's power. Too many people are waiting to feel ready. But readiness doesn't come before action, it comes through action. You build confidence by doing, not by thinking. You build strength by showing up, not by sitting down. You don't get to the mountain by staring at it. You climb even if your legs shake, even if your heart pounds, even if you fall a few times, you climb. You've got something in you the world needs to see, but it's never gonna show if you keep hiding behind the right time. That book you want to write, that business you want to build, that message you want to speak, that version of yourself you keep imagining, it's all on the other side of action. Not tomorrow, not later, now. You don't need perfect conditions. You need the courage to face imperfect ones. Let the rain fall, let the wind blow. You move anyway, because momentum creates miracles. Because starting with doubt still gets you farther than standing still with confidence. Every second you delay, you're training your mind to hesitate. Every time you choose comfort over calling, you make it easier to walk away the next time. But the opposite is also true. Every time you move despite the fear, despite the noise, you teach your soul something. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm building, I'm moving, I'm becoming. The world doesn't give trophies for potential. Nobody claps for ideas that never made it past your imagination. This life, it rewards boldness. It blesses action. You want your future? Stop waiting. Go take it. You talk more than you work. And I say that not to tear you down, but to wake you up. Because some of you have been talking about the same dream for years. Talking about the business you're gonna start, the book you're gonna write, the goals you're gonna hit. But here's the truth, talking about the dream doesn't build the dream. Talking about it doesn't count. Doing does. It's easy to sound passionate. It's easy to say the right words, get fired up, and convince everyone around you, maybe even yourself, that you're on your way. But let me ask you something. When's the last time you worked on it, really worked? When's the last time you sat down, no distractions, and gave your gift the time it deserves? How much of your day is spent creating, and how much is spent talking about creating? Because that gap right there, that's what separates winners from wishers. You can post quotes all day long. You can share inspiration, talk vision, call it manifestation, but if your hands aren't dirty, if your feet aren't moving, if your mind isn't grinding when no one's watching, then it's just noise. Beautiful noise, maybe, but noise doesn't build legacies. Sweat does, and I get it. Talking about it feels good. It gives you a hit of excitement. It makes you feel like you're in motion. But it's a trap, a dangerous one, because the more you talk without action, the more your brain believes you've already done something. And so you stop short. You think intention equals impact, but it doesn't. The world doesn't reward your ideas. It rewards your execution. Some of the most talented people on earth will never be known. Not because they didn't have it in them, but because they never did anything with it. They sat on it, polished it, protected it, talked about it like it was gold, but never took it to the fire to be forged. Because the work, the real work, that's not glamorous, that's not Instagram worthy, that's long hours, small steps, quiet wins. It's consistency when the hype fades and nobody's clapping. You've got to decide, do you want to be impressive or do you want to be impactful? Because impressive is loud, it talks big, it shows off, but impact, that happens in silence. That happens when you shut the world out, lock in and grind. When you fall in love with the process, not just the praise. There's a difference between dreaming and building. Dreamers wait, builders work. Dreamers talk, builders move. And if you're serious about your goals, not just excited by them, then you've got to flip the switch. Stop needing to announce your every move. Stop needing approval before you begin. Get in the dirt and build. Let your results be the noise, because success doesn't come with an audience. It comes when nobody's looking. When you're tired and you show up anyway. When you're unsure but you try anyway. When you stop saying, I'm gonna, and start saying, I am. Nobody cares how much potential you have if you're not producing. Nobody's clapping for what you could do, they're watching what you actually do. You want respect, show up. You want results, grind. You want to be great, shut up and work. The world is full of talkers. Be rare. Be someone who moves in silence and lets the world find out after the fact. Be someone who doesn't need to broadcast the vision because they're too busy building it. You owe it to yourself to stop pretending progress and start making it. Don't let your dream die in a conversation. Let it live in your calendar, in your habits, in your late nights and early mornings. Let it live in your action, because castles in the sky may sound beautiful, but they'll never give you a place to stand. Only the work will. You seek validation, not growth. That's the problem. You keep looking over your shoulder, checking if they're watching, if they're clapping, if they're giving you the thumbs up before you take your next step. But let me tell you something, if you need applause to move, then you'll sit still the moment the room gets quiet. And trust me, it will get quiet. See, real growth doesn't come with noise. It doesn't come with likes, shares, or attention. It comes when nobody's watching, when the spotlight's off, when the followers aren't liking, the friends aren't cheering, and the world isn't listening. That's when growth starts, in silence, in solitude. In the places you don't post about. If you live for validation, you'll die in its absence, because the truth is the world is fickle. One day they're praising you, the next day they forget your name. And if your motivation is built on their approval, then your drive is fragile. Your foundation is cracked. You can't build anything lasting on unstable ground. Growth requires roots, deep ones. ones that hold firm when the wind blows and the crowd walks away. You have to stop needing someone to notice before you act. You have to stop asking, will they like this? And start asking, will this make me better? Because those questions lead you down very different roads. One keeps you chasing people, the other keeps you chasing purpose. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to feel important. That's human. But if that's all you want, if your actions are always angled toward attention, you'll never discover who you really are. You'll just become a reflection of what they want you to be, and you'll end up performing, not living, acting, not growing. Let me ask you something. Can you work without a witness? Can you grind without a post? Can you succeed without a stage? Because those are the moments that count. The ones behind the curtain, the ones when it's just you and your calling, no audience, no applause, just commitment. The greatest breakthroughs happen when no one's clapping for you. When you're alone at the gym, when you're writing in a quiet room, when you're studying, failing, trying again, and no one sees the tears, the sweat, the fight, that's growth. And that's what most people run from because there's no reward in it. No instant feedback, just silence, but that silence, that's sacred ground, that's where warriors are built. You want to grow, stop asking for permission. Stop looking for signs that it's working from the outside. The fruit doesn't show up on the first day you plant the seed. Growth takes time, it takes patience. It takes a willingness to be misunderstood, overlooked, even doubted while you keep pushing. Don't trade long-term greatness for short-term attention. Don't let the fear of being ignored stop you from doing what you were born to do. Most people won't get it. They're not supposed to. It wasn't given to them, it was given to you. You've got to decide, is this about being liked or being great? Because greatness is lonely, not forever but for a while. While others are chasing approval, you're chasing mastery. While others are trying to go viral, you're trying to go deep. And trust me, depth will take you farther than hype ever could. So stop trying to impress. Start trying to improve. Stop needing the crowd. Start needing the mission. Get clear on who you are without the noise, without the claps, without the validation, and that version of you. That version is dangerous. That version is powerful. That version doesn't flinch when the room goes quiet. You don't need a fan base to evolve. You just need discipline. You just need heart. You just need to move when no one's watching and keep moving when no one's cheering. Because that's where the real ones are made. You surround yourself with comfort, not challenge, and that's why you're stuck. That's why you're not growing like you should be. Because somewhere along the way, you started believing that being comfortable meant you were doing well. That just because everything feels easy, it must be right, but let me tell you, comfort isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it's a trap. See, iron doesn't get sharper resting on feathers, it takes friction. Pressure, heat, and it's the same with you. If you keep yourself around people who always agree with you, who always tell you you're right, who clap no matter what you say, that's not a circle, that's a cage. You think they're supporting you, but what they're really doing is holding you still. You need people who push you, who call you out, who won't let you settle for average when they see greatness in you. If your circle doesn't challenge you, it's not helping you, it's pacifying you, it's lulling you to sleep, and while you're asleep in comfort, somebody else is waking up in the grind. The truth is, comfort feels good, but it doesn't change you. Growth lives on the edge of discomfort. Growth is born in the moments when you want to quit but don't. When someone tells you a hard truth and you choose to rise instead of run. When someone sees a weakness in you and instead of getting offended, you fix it. That's where real growth begins. But you've got to ask yourself, do you want to feel good or do you want to be good? Because there's a big difference. Feeling good is easy, it's safe, it's built on compliments and cushions. But being good, being great, that takes pressure, it takes fire, and sometimes it takes people around you who aren't afraid to tell you what you don't want to hear. You've got to stop mistaking comfort for love. Real love doesn't let you stay small. Real support doesn't just pat you on the back, it pushes you forward. Sometimes love is saying, you can do better. Sometimes it's holding up a mirror, not handing out a trophy. And yeah, it'll make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to, that's the point, because comfort is where potential goes to die. When everything around you is soft and safe, you stop reaching. You stop stretching. You stop evolving. Ask yourself who around you is making you better, who challenges your thinking, who tells you the truth when it's inconvenient. If the answer is no one, then you're not in a growth environment. You're in an echo chamber, and echo chambers don't raise champions, they raise people who are afraid to grow. Stop being afraid of friction. Stop being scared of people who disagree with you, who correct you, who push back. Those people might just be your greatest allies, because they're not trying to break you, they're trying to build you. They see something in you that's worth sharpening. You want to go to the next level. Then get around people who are already there, or at least trying to get there. People who won't let you play small. People who call you higher. People who challenge your habits, your mindset, your excuses. And don't just find them, listen to them, even when it stings, especially when it stings. You've got to be strong enough to say, I'd rather be corrected than coddled. I'd rather be uncomfortable and grow than comfortable and stuck. That's maturity. That's strength. That's leadership. The truth is, greatness isn't born in ease. It's born in adversity, in tension, in pressure. And the people who rise are the ones who learn to lean into it, not run from it. So if everything in your life feels soft and easy, if no one around you ever challenges you, it's time to check your environment. Because your surroundings might just be your ceiling. You don't grow by sitting in comfort. You grow when you're pushed, stretched, challenged. Iron sharpens iron. So if you want to be sharp, stop sleeping on pillows. You confuse being busy with being productive, and it's costing you. You're running around, moving fast, checking boxes, burning energy but not making progress. You've convinced yourself that hustle means success, that movement means growth. But if the direction's off, it doesn't matter how fast you're going. You're still lost. Anybody can be busy. That's easy. You fill your day with noise, meetings, messages, errands, calls. You stay in motion so you don't have to stop and face the truth that all that activity isn't taking you anywhere. You feel tired but not accomplished, drained but not fulfilled. You go to sleep with a full schedule but an empty purpose. That's what happens when you trade effectiveness for busyness. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's not how much you move, it's whether you're moving in the right direction. A hamster on a wheel is busy, running hard, sweating, working, but it never leaves the cage. That's what a lot of people are doing, running in circles, mistaking exhaustion for achievement. You think because you're tired, you've earned something, but you can be tired from the wrong work, from chasing distractions, from doing 100 things that lead nowhere. Discipline is what separates the busy from the effective. It's what tells you no when everything around you is pulling for your attention. It's what keeps you locked in on the task that actually moves the needle, even when it's not urgent, even when it's not exciting. Because most of what's urgent isn't important, and most of what's important doesn't scream for your attention, it whispers. It waits for you to slow down and focus. You've got to ask yourself, are you building something or just filling time? Because time will pass either way, and at the end of it, the question won't be how busy you were. It'll be what you actually built with the time you had. What did you create? Who did you become? What legacy did you leave? Some people are addicted to being busy. They wear it like a badge of honor. I'm grinding, I'm working, I'm doing 10 things at once. But let me ask you, what's the result? Are you growing? Are you progressing? Or are you just tired and stuck? Busy doesn't mean better. It just means occupied, and occupied doesn't mean fulfilled. You've got to get clear on your priorities. What matters most? What actually moves your life forward? What builds your dream? That's where your time needs to go. That's where your energy should live. not scattered across distractions, not buried in tasks that just make you look productive but centered on the mission. The real mission. Don't let noise steal your focus. Don't let busy steal your purpose, because if you're not careful, you'll spend years being productive, only to wake up one day and realize you never went anywhere. You just stayed busy enough to avoid confronting the real work, the hard work, the focused work, the work that takes silence, discipline, and patience. Everybody's working on something, but not everybody's working on what matters. Be different. Be the one who steps back, looks at the map, and asks, am I even headed in the right direction? Be the one who says no to good things so they can say yes to great ones. Be the one who understands that effectiveness isn't about effort alone, it's about alignment. It's about purpose. It's about discipline. You don't get to the top by doing everything. You get there by doing the right things, consistently, relentlessly, without distraction, without apology. So stop chasing busy. Stop glorifying hustle that leads nowhere. Sit down, get clear, and move with intention, because direction matters more than speed. You fear failing more than you crave winning, and that fear, it's keeping you exactly where you are. It's dressed up as caution, disguised as logic, pretending to protect you, but really it's robbing you. Because the truth is, playing it safe is the most dangerous game you'll ever play. You think you're avoiding pain by avoiding risk, but what you're really doing is trading pain now for regret later. You're hoping that if you stay quiet, stay small, stay careful, life will reward you with peace. But peace doesn't come from hiding. Peace comes from knowing you gave it everything, that you showed up, that you tried, that you weren't afraid to lose. Some people never find out how far they could have gone, not because they didn't have it in them, but because they never let themselves fail. They stayed on the sideline, waiting for the moment when the fear would go away. But it doesn't. That's the secret. The fear never leaves. You just stop letting it lead. The people who win, they're not fearless. They feel it all, the doubt, the pressure, the uncertainty, but they move anyway. They take the shot knowing they might miss. They build knowing it might break, because they understand something most people don't. Fail. You're as part of the process. It's the price of admission for greatness. You're out here trying to avoid failure like it's the enemy, but it's not. Failure's the teacher, the mirror, the fire that burns off the weak parts and shows you what you're really made of. You can't grow without it. You can't reach the next level without risking the fall. And if you're not willing to fall, you'll never rise. What are you really afraid of? That people will laugh, that they'll talk. That they'll say you weren't good enough. Let them talk, let them laugh. They're not building your life. They don't pay the price for your dreams, you do. So stop giving them the power to decide how bold you're allowed to be. Safe choices feel good now, but they cost you later. Every time you pull back instead of pushing forward, every time you choose comfort over calling, every time you say maybe later instead of let's go, you lose ground. Not just on the outside, but on the inside. You start to forget what it feels like to bet on yourself. You don't rise by staying hidden. You rise by stepping into the unknown, by saying, I might fall, but I also might fly. That's the tension. That's the risk, and that's the only road that leads to real success. The kind that lasts, the kind that changes you. Too many of you want the reward without the risk. You want the win without the wounds. But life doesn't work like that. You get the victory by surviving the valley. You earn the crown by carrying the weight. And sometimes, yes, that means failing. That means stumbling, messing up, losing sleep, hearing no after no, getting knocked down and standing back up when it hurts. But that's the grind. That's where greatness is carved. You don't become strong by winning all the time. You become strong by learning how to lose and keep moving, by learning how to fail with your head high, your heart open, and your eyes still locked on the goal. Don't let fear stop you from living. Don't let it trap you in a small version of yourself. You've got more in you than you've shown. You've got gifts you haven't unwrapped because you're too afraid they might not be perfect. But that's not the point. The point is showing up. The point is giving your all. The point is looking fear in the face and saying, you don't get to run this. You can either live trying to avoid loss, or you can live chasing what sets your soul on fire. One leads to safety, the other leads to purpose, but you can't have both. You've got to choose, and if you're serious about winning, real winning, then you've got to stop waiting for the fear to leave. Move with it, carry it with you, just don't let it lead the way, because if you're not willing to lose, you'll never truly win. If this hit you good, it was meant to, because success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most honest, the ones who stop hiding in comfort, stop chasing applause, and finally take ownership of their direction. You're not here to play it safe, you're here to win, but that only happens when you trade fear for action, busy for purpose, and comfort for growth. Now, if you're serious about becoming the version of you that doesn't flinch when the room gets quiet, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join this movement. No fluff, no hype, just truth, growth, and power every single time. Hit like if this lit a fire in you, and drop a comment with the one habit you're done with starting today. We're just getting started. See you in the next one.